The long, dark phase we were in, complete empty sky, didn't allow for any visual confirmation at all. And surface scanners wouldn't be able to tell the transport from a large boulder if 517 was down without power. One of the jumpers was able to get a decent calculation of the cruiser's potential path from an estimator. But right now, I had other issues on my mind. For one, the status of the cruiser racking from the Grand Valley, in order to step up the security around the Crystal Plains and Glanak mines, two of our colony's most precious resources, which were so spread out over two entire regions, that our planetary Mother Division's standing army would likely not be large enough to protect all of it in the case of a full assault. But we didn't have an army to begin with. Because we still hadn't reached our building and trading dues, our planetary parent division was responsible to send us reinforcements if such a need arose, but it would take some time to put together, and in the event of an actual, full-on assault or attempted invasion of our colony, we would be left on our own for several D-spins before any additional forces would arrive. This was a topic of discussion between me and Barris as Endeavor moved closer to the area of incident. Barris was one of the lead voices in keeping our civil and colonial overseers and protectors as separate entities. The trouble is, in a new colony, especially one this is technically on another world, everything is limited, because everything has to be brought in. This includes people. And the simple fact in the early days, as we began to push out of the Grand Valley and move into what is now the Expanse region, was that we simply didn't have enough bodies to populate two full forces. The other issue I had, which was and still is my biggest argument against the formation of an army, is that we were still a colony, not an independent division. And until we were technically still under our planetary division articles, which would mean any official army we would raise before achieving our dues would basically have the authority of one of your world's militias. And in our world, those types of groups tend to fester into something very unappealing as we progress. All of this may seem a bit premature, but the debate of Army versus Civil Corps didn't go away with the formation of the Guardians. There are still factions that continue to debate whether our main function should be protection or policing. People like Barris think they are one and the same. I tend to think that one puts the power with the civilians and the other lays the power on bureaucrats, who tend to make decisions from a paranoid, defensive perspective. But everything in a fledgling colony is about risk, and risk is the last thing you will see out of a bureaucrat. I always felt that Barris assigned himself to the Endeavor, in part, to keep an eye on me. We actually worked very well together, finding a genuine mutual respect for each other's abilities in the field, despite our philosophical differences. As we reached the general area of Transport 517's last known placement, we began our own scanning as we joined the other cruisers in Trevin and Rover 17 in the search for the missing transport that we still had not heard a word from since it went down about half a spin ago. Within this proximity, personal communicators would be in range. We would be detecting the heat of survivor bodies in the darkness below us. Any kind of tech girdle would hit something on at least one of the ships covering the area. But there was nothing. In another spin and a half, we would be back into a light phase, adding much-needed visuals to our efforts. But, as it would turn out, we wouldn't need to wait that long.